We are covering the most overrated player for every single NFL team. Make sure to drop a like if you want us to cover underrated players. And we're going to get straight into this, starting with the AFC East. Buck, take us away.
Start off with the Buffalo Bills. I have Dawson Knox. The most yards he's had this year is 30. I know Kincaid gets more of the touches now, but that's my overrated guy that I expected to do better.
The Bills are sort of tricky in some ways. For me, I have Keon Coleman. Maybe I just expected more. A bit more of a breakout year. He hasn't had as many big plays. I wouldn't say it's been an improvement this season compared to last season. And at 6'3", 6'4", 220, I need the goods. I need the goods. Let's go to the New England Patriots, another team that has been playing wonderful. I'm not that I'm a Boston guy.
Yeah, I went with Stevenson. 83 attempts this season with 279 yards and just 3 touchdowns. Patriots are 7-2, not a team that I watch all the time, but you'd expect his stats to be a lot better because you're supposed to be the man.
We didn't talk about this pregame. I just want to throw that out there, but I have also gone with Stevenson. I just think he's replaceable amongst the team. And you could argue that even Henderson coming in as the second running back has already started making his mark. And he does have a better, I guess, per carry average. But I also look at Stevenson. He just signed recently a 4-year, $36 million contract extension. There's some incentives cooked into it. You want more. You want more. That's all I'm saying.
True. Yeah, I'm good with that. Tua from the Dolphins is my next guy. I think that's an obvious pick. I don't know if you have anybody else on that team, but yeah, people used to compare him to Justin Herbert. He's not Justin Herbert. He's not Dayton Madison Beer. He's nothing to do like him. Nothing like him at all. Who's your guy?
I wish we started this channel a little bit earlier because I have always been on board with Tua not necessarily churning out or being an NFL superstar, and he's getting paid like one. He's also the choice for Miami. I think he's unanimous for the most overrated player, maybe even in the league. You got to remember, this guy is the 6th highest paid quarterback in the NFL. $212 million. So I don't even know what Miami's going to do from here. You can't dump that. I just don't see the picture or the lens. You could talk about the coaching and some of the other players, but you need a big leader for QB, which leads us to the last team, and another team that doesn't really have a QB either, or they have a similar issue, is the New York Jets.
Who's your guy for the Jets?
So I've gone, I don't know if this is going to work or not. He just got traded. I had Quentin Williams, and I tried not to use a bunch of defensive players or even offensive linemen just to keep this going where everybody knows the ins and outs to a certain degree. But he got traded to Dallas, 2nd-round pick, 1st-round pick. Smith was also involved in that trade. Back in 2022, he was incredible. The last couple seasons, he was better than this season. And he's been on defense so much at the Jets. He only has 1 sack, at least as we're recording. Maybe it'll all be different at Dallas, but I think you expect more. He's a big name.
Yeah, I went with Justin Fields. I feel weird taking 2 quarterbacks in this division, but I just thought Fields was going to be better. I wanted him to play so much more when he was at the Bears. I am not a Caleb Williams guy at all. Williams is doing better now, though, so I can't really say anything, but he has 5 passing TDs, 3 rushing TDs. I know the Jets have their issues as well, too, but I just expected more. I think there's a clutch factor that so many quarterbacks need to have, and I just don't think he has it at all. So that's my opinion on Fields. But let's head on over to the AFC North. You pick a team to start us off with, Mike. Who are you feeling?
Let's go with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I'll lead off, if you will. I think they're screaming for more receiver depth. You've got Aaron Rodgers, a legend or a living legend. He's still playing, still has that arm strength and ability to get out so quickly. And I've got Roman Wilson as someone who's been underwhelming. And the amount of attention that DK gets, it's just set up so well for a 2nd or 3rd receiver. And I don't think it's really came together for the Pittsburgh Steelers, even though they've had a decent season up to this point.
Yeah, I could see that. I went with Warren. I think it's a little bit of bias, though, because he's on my fantasy team. So many of the guys were like, and once again, this is overrated, overhyped type of video. So many guys were yelling at me to take him, and he's just been a little bit underwhelming for me. It doesn't help that Rodgers has been slinging the ball, though. He has 17 touchdowns this year.
Hey, Warren's got some of those passes out of the back, though, and he's getting carries.
He does.
I'm not a Warren hater. I understand. Fantasy football is a big deal. I'm not having the best of seasons this way either. And if you let me down a couple weeks, my opinion about you might shift a little bit.
Yeah, it's how it goes. And yeah, I don't know. Some of these teams I don't know. There's a lot of players that are all doing their job, and you kind of just have to put a name to the paper. So Warren was my guy for them, but I think overall the Steelers are doing pretty damn good. Teams that aren't doing good though: Cleveland Browns. I went on a little bit of a weird one here, but I went with Shedeur Sanders as my overrated guy.
You don't like him. You don't like him.
I hate him. I
We haven't even seen him in action yet. We don't have any experiment.
I've seen him in college way too much. I don't believe any of the hype at all. I think he did fine in the preseason game. I just don't ever think he's going to be elite. I might eat these words. That's totally fine. But yeah, that's my guy, Shedeur Sanders.
I'm sure I'm going to eat my words because I'm optimistic on the Cleveland Browns. I like a lot of their young talent, which is scary. However, part of that young talent that I think might be low-hanging fruit, and I'm not necessarily on board. I don't see the potential that some people do with Dylan Gabriel. Lefty, a little bit undersized. Is he going to be able to perform in this competitive division and get results? I don't know. That's where I'm at. So I think he's a little overrated. I don't know if Sanders is the answer. Browns and QBs, and actually Browns with results, it just hasn't really worked in almost all of our lifetime. Maybe we'd have to track it back. I mean, most recently would have been probably Baker Mayfield, which is actually not that long ago. But I'm trying throughout my life, I can't think of many teams that the Browns have put together that I'm like, this team could be on a playoff run or even make the playoffs.
Yeah, I'd say yeah. No one's really backing the Browns like that. Let's head over to the Baltimore Ravens. I chose Isaiah Likely. I felt like he was the man last year. Every time I watched a game, it was the announcer screaming likely this, likely that. This year he's only got 8 catches for 86 yards, and 60 of them were against the Dolphins. So I don't know. I know they've had their issues. Lamar's been out as well. That obviously plays a factor, but he's been my overrated guy this year because I feel like a lot of guys on fantasy have him. They picked him up, and he hasn't really done anything.
I mean, on record, I could probably take the entirety of the secondary with the Ravens. They've had injuries. I get it, but it's not a team that I'm used to seeing struggle defensively. If everything else wasn't working, you could still count on their defense being disruptive, having to go to Baltimore. I've put, and this could be a little bit of a hot take, I don't know if it's fair, but I've got Mark Andrews, and I'm still living rent-free. I'm not necessarily a Ravens fan, but his drop from the playoffs, and he's had such a great career, but this season it's been less catches, less total yards, less yards per catch, more than any other period in his career. So you could just say that maybe there's a little bit of aging, maybe it's a downturn. Either way, it kind of fits into the underwhelming or the overrated category, and here we are. Please don't come after me. I understand if you love him.
Yeah, people are going to come after me with my next pick here because I have Chase Brown for my Bengals pick. I also there's so many factors. Once again, though, is the fact they've gone through 3 different quarterbacks now, so he's not going to get nearly as many touches as he typically would. But I don't know. He's 5 touchdowns his last 9 games, and weird stat, they've scored 155 points in the last 5 weeks. By the time that we're filming this on November 8th. He only has 5 touchdowns. They're telling me they put up 155 points. That stat just doesn't make any sense to me, but that's my guy there.
Well, let me make it make sense, I suppose. The issue is the Bengals are often coming from behind, so they're just throwing the ball everywhere, all sorts of possessions. And until they made some movements recently, it was a real tough watch. I mean, we could take the entirety of the defense here. You could take the O-line. That's what I focused on. I think it's the only O-lineman I have. I told you I'm not trying to go into the deep dives. We don't want to go too niche with some of our player selections, but I've got Orlando Brown Jr. Again, you're getting paid the big bucks. There is an expectation. You can't have tons of inconsistencies once you're signing these deals. And if anything, I've learned to respect Joe Burrow more and more after watching the Bengals this season.
Their O-line sucks. But that's what happens when all you do is just pay your receivers. That's it. You ain't got any money left is what happens. In the AFC South, it only makes sense that we let you start off with the Houston Texans.
I'm in a Texans jersey.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I'm in a Texans jersey today as well.
Go for it.
I've been conflicted. It's a tough year, but again, we don't have an offensive line. So it's hard to blame someone like Stroud for me. You know, even the lackluster results and the passing problems here, the inconsistencies. You never know if you're going to have 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, no time whatsoever. We don't have the main running back. We've obviously been missing that the entirety, so it's kind of been a split between Chubb and Woody Marks. There's been no mixing. I put Christian Kirk. He was one of those signings coming in as should be a major contributor, should be somebody that gets snaps and could relieve some pressure from the wide receiving core, maybe even get the young guys rolling. And he's had a hamstring injury, but I don't think he's really performed up to this point, under-delivered in my eyes.
Okay. I went with Stroud, and I totally forgot about this, by the way. My brother and his friends, because Kirk went to high school in Arizona, had like a Twitter page trolling him back in the day. So I've been hearing Christian Kirk's name since I was like 18 years old, which is pretty funny. But I went with Stroud. Reason why? I just don't think he looks like the same guy that he used to. I think he looked incredible. He looked super confident before, and right now he's got 5 interceptions in 8 games. I think he's a really good player. I really like him. I hope he gets back to that level. I just don't think he's there right now.
I'm also biased. I'm very biased. Happily biased.
You're able to be if it's your team. That's how it works. All right, you choose the next team.
All right, let's go to the Tennessee Titans. And I remember the Houston Oilers, too, and I was going to the Astrodome, if you want me to age myself before this whole Tennessee movement. They are bad. I don't know what to do. When you talk about overrated, you don't need a big review here. We could talk about Cam Ward not being good, but I don't even know if he was supposed to be that good. They have so many skill player issues. I don't trust the defense. Again, some of the back and forth with the defensive line or even the offensive line. I ended up having Snead on a short list, and then I was saying maybe we go, I guess, Dan Moore. He's kind of average for a left tackle getting paid $80-something million on a contract. So there we are. That's where I'm leaving. But these are when you're just terrible. I don't know. Where's the rating supposed to come from? You tell me, Buck.
Yeah, it's if it's a really, really bad team, there could definitely be a laundry list of players that you could throw on there. But we're trying to keep the video short and sweet for everybody. I went with Calvin Ridley. Last year he had 1,000 yards, had 4 touchdowns. This year he has 16 catches for 290 yards. And a whopping 0 touchdowns. So Cam Ward, like you said, not helping anybody out in that regard at all. And they only have 8 touchdowns as an offense this year.
I can't believe they have a win, Buck. I cannot believe that was
it's because
unbelievable.
Yeah,
You watched the game, I'm sure. If not, you definitely saw the highlights of that one. I couldn't believe what's happening in the Cardinals. It was unbelievable. Let's keep pushing. I watched this division heavy, obviously. Let's go to, if you allow me, let's go to Jacksonville, who have been overperforming this year, in my eyes.
Yeah, I went with Brian Thomas Jr. Last year, 1,200 yards. This year, 420 yards with 30 receptions. So Trevor Lawrence was a close second, though. I think he's definitely one of those overrated quarterbacks. I think people are kind of coming back to like down to earth with him now, where they're like, he's not really the man. But he's also once again somebody that was compared to Herbert, and anybody that's compared to Herbert pisses me off because I think he's the best. So
Trevor Lawrence is on my list, but he's just frustrating because you're 6'6" with all the tools. But if you watch him play a lot, you're like, how do you throw these picks, or how do you miss the drop downs, or the swing passes, or the easy ones? He'll throw an absolute dot downfield, and then he'll have a terrible decision, and then like again, you're miss like a screen pass, and you're like, how is that inconsistency is just crushing spirits, which leads us with the leaders and a team that I don't think anybody thought would be this good, the Indianapolis Colts.
Nobody thought they'd be this good. I went with Mitchell. He's got nine receptions this year. I don't know. Just one of those where with how good Daniel Jones is right now, you'd expect every wide receiver on that team to be having like the best career season they've ever had. So best career year is what I meant to say there. But yeah, I don't know. With just 9 receptions this year, she's underperforming, a little bit overrated in my opinion.
Well, technically we might have cheated as well because he's been on the move. Mitchell was involved, of course, in that Colts trade where you saw Sauce Gardner come in. And just to your point with the Colts, I mean, they arguably have the best O-line in the business. And Jones and JT, Mr. Taylor have been putting on an absolute clinic week in and week out. I'm not happy about this. We can move on. Let's get out of this division, actually. I don't want to talk about how the Texans are suffering and the Colts are doing well and Jacksonville might make the playoffs. And I don't know if the Titans even play football. Let's go to the AFC West.
All right, let's start off with the Broncos. I feel like the Broncos are such a weird team this year, but it's also because they just have no idea how to play football in the first half of games is what it feels like. Ingram is my guy on the Broncos. Last year, he had 47 receptions. This year, he has, in just 9 games, by the way, and this year he's already played 9 games. He only has 28. Just 1 touchdown. A little bit overrated, but I don't know. That whole offense just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
I'm struggling with the Broncos, bro. They have an incredible defense, the best pass rush that you could ever buy into. I mean, they've kept them in so many games. I'm not trying to cut you off in any way, but
no,
I kind of have Bo Nix as a in and out here. He can win you a game, he can lose you a game. I don't know if he's actually been as good as people think. I think he's been bailed out by such an incredible defense. He is a good fit for Sean Payton's system. I will throw that out there, but it's a difficult team, I think, to really go through and break down who has been so underwhelming. If you going through stats or what happened last year to this year, and also their results, they're getting W's, they're getting wins.
Yeah. Their defense is so damn good. Let's head over to Kansas City. This is one where I think I may get some hate in the comments, but my overrated guy is Pacheco. I don't think Pacheco's the guy. I never have thought he was the guy. I think everything he does, Hunt can do. And that's my opinion. I don't know. I know Hunt's their goal line guy. Hunt's the one that punches in the TDs, gets the extra stats, but I don't know. I don't like Pacheco, and that's, I guess, a little bit of bias here. I'm a Chargers fan, so I don't really like anybody on the Chiefs, but that's my guy.
Kansas City Chiefs are up there for some of the most hated team. And I'm still wanting to track back to the Broncos, by the way. They put us through 2 of the most boring games of the year. I'm not done. I'm ready. Maybe I'm ready to hate on them, I guess. But that game against Oakland was horrific, and that game against the Jets, nobody wanted to win those games. It was terrible to watch. Kansas City Chiefs, I think a lot of players are properly rated. That's the problem with this team. So when you're trying to look like who's really underperforming, I don't know. They're kind of doing what they're supposed to be doing. I've always had Worthy a little bit maybe overrated. I don't think they have a bunch of elite receivers. I don't know if they have any elite receivers. Now we have Rashee Rice that's back. I think that he's going to take a lot more snaps and attention in general. But you got to throw somebody into the category. But I think they have a lot of players, again, properly rated. Even with Hunt and Pacheco, same situation. I don't think either of them are superstars, but I don't know that they're supposed to be. They just do their jobs.
Yeah. I don't know. They're just like a well-oiled machine is what
it's
they
okay.
are.
We don't want to watch. We don't want to watch. Kelsey, he got engaged. He can do that thing. We're going in a different direction now. I've already done the Mahomes thing with his family was crazy to watch for a while. The TikToks and everything that was happening. We just keep it pushing.
Another team that I don't really care to watch is the Las Vegas Raiders.
Go back to Oakland. Go back to Oakland. I don't like this new Raiders team at all. Sorry.
No, you're good. I so badly, by the way, wanted to, going into the season, I so badly wanted it to be Genty, to be the overrated guy, because I'm an ASU guy. I wanted Scattaboo to go before him. I thought Scattaboo was the best running back in the country last year. Bias a little bit, but, stats
Plenty
are there.
Bias.
It's fine. But yeah, I wanted it to be Genty. It's Geno Smith for me. I was excited when Geno Smith came over here. I thought he was good at the Seahawks. The guy, obviously, he loves throwing interceptions. He threw 15 last year. He's already got 11 so far this year. But I do think he's one of the most replaceable quarterbacks in the NFL right now. I think you could almost grab any quarterback and stick them there, and they'd probably be doing better. That's my opinion.
I agree. I also have Geno Smith. He's interchangeable. I don't know if he's supposed to be good, but he's got a 2-year, $75 million contract. I think this year gets the bulk of the deal as well in terms of the most money. And to your point, he has the same amount of touchdowns as picks. He might even have, as we're recording, less touchdowns than interceptions, which is insane.
Yeah, I think it's really, really close.
We would throw it on screen if it makes me look good. Otherwise, just keep it pushing, keep it moving. If it doesn't make me look good, we just move on. That wraps up the AFC, though. We've talked about everybody. No, we haven't. We have one more. Your team, of course. My bad.
Yeah.
We have the Los Angeles Chargers. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think everybody on there is pretty damn good. I don't really have anybody. Yeah. So, no, I did Najee Harris before the injury. I think there was a lot of hype of him coming in just because of his name. He's obviously a very good player, but he only had 61 rushing yards for us before the injury. I couldn't really choose anybody else because they are one of those teams, too, where it's not necessarily like crazy superstars all over the field, and they're getting results right now. So that was the only thing that made it kind of tough.
If there's any critique, it would probably be in the running game because you got Najee Harris, you had Hampton that's hurt, you got Vidal that stepped in, and this might be my hottest take of the entire video. And I think he's a very good receiver, but I have Quentin Johnston as my overrated player because I've started hearing conversations as a top 10 receiver, a top 5 receiver, a guy that's putting up all these numbers in fantasy, especially early on this year. And if anything, I'd like to give Herbert more credit. And there's so many good parts on the receiving core. This is the one place I would argue. You've got Gadsden, you've got Keenan Allen, you have Ladd McConkey, you have Quentin Johnston. There's a lot of options. These guys are big plays, are big playmakers, and then you have Herbert who's just airing it out, especially with the injuries to the running backs. You got a decent enough offensive line, and we're having games with the guys throwing. I'm looking at the lines if I'm doing some sports betting, and then I'm not even on the plus side if he's throwing 300 yards half the time.
It is crazy. Yeah, I would say the people that are having the conversations with you about Quentin Johnston being a top 10 wide receiver, you got to just cut those people off.
Well, I'm just saying, you see what I mean, though? That's not true. I don't think that's the combo. I don't think that's the combo.
It's not the conversation at all. But let's head over to the NFC East. We might as well start off with the Cowboys. I was going to try to take a jab. Was any part of you growing up, did you root from Texas, you root for both teams?
No, you know what? I'm not that. Let me go farther on this. Dallas Cowboys, I don't like anything about the Dallas Cowboys. They have so many fans that have never been to Dallas. and their family's never been to Dallas. I don't know what's happening here. I don't like it. I just don't like it. I've been really weird with this choice too. I might as well transition in. I just decided to take the defensive coordinator. We got Eberflus he's going down. I don't even, if you want, we can throw like Kenneth Murray or somebody in there. I'm ready. I will happily hate on the Dallas Cowboys wherever you like. Obviously, offensively they got everything. Defensively, I don't know if they even play football sometimes. Watching the games, they make teams look like superstars on the offensive end that are not good. They're not on the same page. We'll go back to you. Clearly, I am. This is a division I'm kind of against the whole way.
I picked up on that pretty easily there. Dallas Cowboys is always an easy over for me every single time they play. Like you said, they don't play defense. I think victim of circumstance, and the circumstance is the fact that he plays for the Dallas Cowboys, is Dak Prescott is always going to get way too much hype. I think he's a lot better this year, like significantly better this year.
He's airing it out, bro.
He is, but he has to also air it out because they give up 40 points a game at the same time. So you have to go for it. But I like CeeDee, I like Ferguson, I like Pickens. I think all of them are performing, and I think once again I like Dak. Victim of circumstance, you're the Dallas Cowboys quarterback. People are always going to overhype you, especially the people that have never been to Dallas. He's my
How
pick.
does that happen, by the way? How does this happen? America's team, everybody's a fan. None of you guys even go to Texas.
It's that Netflix documentary
I don't
with the
get it.
cheerleaders, man. Yeah.
Bro, maybe it is. It's outsider marketing. I don't know what's happening. Let's move. Can we move to another team I really don't like, if you allow it?
Go for it.
Philadelphia Eagles. I haven't liked anything in Philadelphia since Allen Iverson. I don't like the Eagles, and this is even another hot take. I think it makes a lot of sense. If you're objectively looking at the game or at the sport, at the season, last year, Saquon was amazing. This year, he's still good, but not to Saquon standards. This guy is not rushing for 100 yards a game. I barely at that. I think, if anything, most of his games have been under 50, 60 yards rushing. He's still catching some balls out of the back. I know that Jalen Hurts gets a lot of attention, but that guy is so efficient. He protects the ball so well. He keeps you in games. He can make the throws when you need him. I know the tush push. Everybody's touching butts. You don't like that. I get it. I'm not saying I'm promoting it. I'm not co-signing it. I'm just saying I think that Saquon has been a little overrated this season from last season's expectations.
The expectations were unbelievable, and that's because he is a crazy football player, but it's hard to stay up to that standard, like every single season. Someone on their team that I think it's hard to stay up to their standard as well, too, is A.J. Brown.
Wait,
and that's
who's your Eagles choice?
A.J. Brown.
Oh, my bad. Sorry,
no,
I
you're
thought you were
good.
moving to another team.
No. Yeah, A.J. Brown is my guy that I think has a crazy high standard on that team as well. Last year, 1,100 receiving yards. This year, he has 395. I don't think he's getting the ball as much, but a lot of hype and not a lot of delivery this year.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's my guy there. But I do agree with the Saquon thing too. It's so hard to
it might not be his
what
fault.
he does.
But he's nowhere near any like last year's standard or season. Even I got a lot of Eagles fans. I live in New York City. These guys are all around, right? They won't leave me alone. And they're saying the same things. They haven't liked the way the offense has looked in plenty of the weeks. So we'll leave that alone. We can keep it moving. To a couple teams that are struggling. Let's go to the Washington Commanders, if you'd like to take lead.
This will be another hot take here. For overrated, it's going to be Jaden Daniels. Once again, I think he's a really good football player. Same thing kind of with Stroud. I don't think that he looks the same. And I think injuries obviously caused that. He just doesn't look like the confident Jaden Daniels, the really
he's
fun, exciting
smiling too much
one.
on the sidelines. They're getting beaten. He's smiling all the time. They always zoom in on him. He's like telling a joke. Why is he telling all these jokes?
Throw the football, man. Yeah, no, he's my guy. I don't know. I hope he gets back to where he's at. That injury was nasty the other day too, so hopefully he recovers quickly from that too. But yeah, it was brutal. But who's your pick?
Yeah, well, first off, only sending love on the recovery to Jaden Daniels. I think he's had to do way too much running this year as well. Just to your point,
Yeah.
It almost seemed like the offensive line's not helping him out. I've got another player that's going through injuries, which has been a theme for the NFL this year. I mean, there's always injuries, but this year with skill positions, it seems a little bit OD. And the Washington Commanders in particular have plenty. I got Scary Terry McLaurin, who does not look very scary. Top 10 highest paid receivers in the league. I think he's number 9 or number 10. I am not sold on him being a top 10 receiver in the league. And this year in particular, we haven't really seen that difference maker factor, partially, of course, due to injury. But I'm leaving him here. This is the category. I think it fits.
All right. Well, Somebody that does not fit on a team. I think this is an easy one as well, too, for the New York Giants. I went with Russell Wilson.
Send him to retirement. Send him to retirement.
He's just, he's overhyped.
Well, he's had too good of a career. Just stop. I know, like, there's some bags to be caught. Just enjoy Sierra, your family. You guys are going to church all the time. That's great. Like, let's just wrap it up. You get more time on Sundays. You know, people will remember the Seattle days. That was a great era for him. But every movement since then's kind of been dodgy. You know?
Leave the football before the football leaves you. Tyron Tracy was like a close second on that as well, too. I think he's definitely underperformed this year as well. But let's head over to the NFC North. Start off with the Bears. You want to go first?
Sure. I like the Bears. I'm on board with the Bears. That's been my, I guess, struggle city that I've always rooted for. I know M-Bone, your buddy, will love that. This year, there's optimism. They're winning weird games, difficult games that always the Bears lose. It's kind of turned around. So I hope that continues. Until recently, I thought Loveland was easily the overrated player coming out as a rookie. A lot of expectation. He was getting more snaps, or supposed to get a bunch of snaps. He obviously had an incredible game against the Bengals, which is still the Bengals. But I've got him on my list. Maybe because he's in 2 of my fantasy teams, and he's been crushing me in those fantasy teams for the tight end position. But I'd like to see him now have a big back half, and then I can eat my words. Happy to eat them.
Perfect. Yeah, I went with Kmet, so we're on the opposite side of it. I think Loveland's better. I think Kmet's definitely a bit overrated as well. This year he only has 142 yards, so starting tight end, a little bit overrated, overhyped.
I mean, Loveland would have been like that too before the Bengals game. Before the Bengals game, he could probably less than 100 yards.
Last year, Kmet had 474 yards, though, so I'm going off of that as well. Let's go to the Detroit Lions now. I went with Williams. I think once again, I think the Detroit Lions are also one of the most exciting teams to watch. Like, when their offense is clicking, it's unbelievable. But this year he has 355 yards, 3 touchdowns. Last year he went for 1,007. So seemed like the easy one to choose because there are so many players in that team that perform unbelievably.
It's a difficult team to also digest some of this. I also took Williams, and someone maybe has to have less stats for this to all work out, because we've just seen so many carries or so many yards between Gibbs and Montgomery, not only running, but even receiving. I think they might have 300, 350, 400 yards, even receiving out of the back. And at the end of the day, there's only one football, right? So we've got Williams there. I don't think there's a third wide receiver. I mean, if anything, Laporta has been catching everything. But like another receiver that's really going to be able to take the numbers away. They have to fall off somewhere. We're doing, it is
they
what
do.
It is.
Speaking of a fall off,
okay.
I don't want to say the Green Bay Packers a little bit this year. There was so much expectations coming in. Their defense is incredible, by the way, too. With Micah Parsons going over there as well. They should be winning so many games. They should be winning so many damn games. And my overrated guy is Jordan Love right now, because I don't think Jordan Love has the it factor to win these games where it's fourth quarter, you need a game-winning drive, dude. He hasn't really, hasn't performed in my opinion. He's on pace to beat a lot of his stats from last year. Like, on paper, he's having a much better year, but he's had the opportunity to win the Packers, I think, so many more games than they have right now, or so many more wins they have right now. So he's my overrated guy right now.
Love has tons of talent, but I don't think we should negate how consistent Jacobs is. Having a consistent running game helps everything.
Yeah.
And that guy is a walking touchdown every single week. He's obviously not going to be my overrated choice either. I've gone with Matthew Golden. I just think he should be doing better because Love does air it out. There's plenty of chances to catch some balls, to make some plays. We have seen, again, injuries. I don't want to keep that on repeat. It's just been part of this year, but we'll just keep it pushing, which leads us to the Minnesota Vikings. And I still can't believe their QB situation. I guess I'm technically leading it there. But last year, I liked the team. And they had Darnold. It was looking good. You didn't need to adjust a bunch of things. You had the defense. You got a couple running backs that you can work and interchange. You have Jefferson. You have Addison. Maybe the best 2-receiver partnership in terms of guys that make plays. I like Hawkinson. But then you got JJ. And JJ, I don't know if I have the same belief. And that is a winning team. When you look at that squad, that is a winning roster.
It is a winning roster. I have J.J. McCarthy as my guy, too. My opinion of the whole Minnesota Vikings quarterback situation is that they're trying to make the fan base believe that they did not screw up horrifically getting rid of Sam Darnold. And Sam Darnold's still kicking ass, dude. He's doing really well.
Balling out. Arguably the best he's ever been, actually, right now.
Yeah, I think so, too. So
I don't even know if it's arguably. I think that's the truth.
Yeah, so J.J. McCarthy, it's true. I think J.J. McCarthy is a easy pick with that one. NFC South is hands down the division that I watch the least amount of football. I've never been excited to really turn on a Panthers, Saints, or Falcons game ever. The Buccaneers hold together me a little bit there. But who do you want to start off with?
I'm going to start with the Bucks. I think it's a difficult one. A bunch of injuries everywhere. I've taken Sterling Shepard, who's kind of been forced into like an actual role. If anything, he would have been behind the Egbukas and the Mike Evans and the Godwins, your fourth or maybe even fifth option. Very situational. And he's been okay, but I that's not the role for him on this team. And we got to put somebody in there. I didn't want to take some of the injury guys as much, but that's what I did. Tampa Bay's tricky.
They are really tricky just because of injuries, too. Yeah, I took one of the injury guys just because I think another player that had such high expectations going into this year as well, and it was Bucky Irving. So he had 1,200 yards last year. Obviously, injuries have affected him this year. Lot of hype going into it, and once again, just kind of victim of circumstance.
This was meant to be his year, for sure. This was meant to be his year.
I think so, too. Someone who I don't think will ever have a year is Rattler, and we can head on over to the Saints.
Okay, what a transition. That was a hard transition. Not a soft transition at all.
I think Rattler sucks. Yeah, I've never won any money on Rattler, and there's a bunch of bias coming in here, too.
He's costing you funds.
I'm not going to lie. My notes here literally says I have so many like yards and this and that for every single player. It literally reads, Rattler's the worst quarterback I've ever seen in my life. And that's my opinion on him. So you can go for it if you'd like.
You can leave it there. I got Kamara. This has got a down season. I mean, he might even get pushed out in terms of what's going to happen next for him. There's not a lot to compliment with the Saints. They're kind of hot and cold a little bit, but they've been, I mean, result-wise, very cold. But I'm saying like they can make a play, but then they do something that's, I don't want to say if it's irresponsible, but it's just a bad decision. Poor decision. I don't know if it's all play calling. Like I said, we could just blame it on Rattler if you like, but that's where I've gone. This division, we can keep it moving quickly, I think. Atlanta Falcons. I'm not on the Penix bandwagon. I don't know that he's next up. I mean, you have the best running back in the league with Bijan, and so versatile. That guy catches like a receiver. You got Pitts, you got Drake London. That's basically the entirety of the attack. And I just think that people like that Penix is a lefty. I don't know that I believe in this lead the team to the playoffs or make deep run or that he's going to be a franchise quarterback into the future. I'm not sure if I'm on there, and I might have to eat my words. I might have to, have an apology issued somewhere. But that's my, I guess, hot, strong, overrated take on the Atlanta Falcons.
Penix for me was the same for basically all those same reasons. I just don't know if he's the guy, and there was a ton of hype going into it. Last team, though, is the Carolina Panthers. I went with Chuba Hubbard. Last year, 1,200 yards. This year, 300. Not the man on the team anymore, and he was supposed to be the man, so I think there was a bunch.
Shout out to Dowdle. Shout out to Dowdle. Dowdle.
Yeah,
I can't talk, but yeah, I'm with you.
Hubbard's my guy, so I don't know who you chose.
I was looking at the Panthers. They've kind of gone above what I thought they would do this year already. I thought this was going to be a team that kind of got washed out. Completely wrong on that. I think I'm going to join you with Hubbard not retaining the job. Again, shout out to Dowdle making such a big difference. I don't think that was the game plan at all, but here we are. And they're going to have a chance to make the playoffs. I think they're going to battle for a playoff spot.
Yeah, I definitely think they will. Team that will not be battling for a playoff spot is the Arizona Cardinals. We head over to the NFC West. Is this another just completely obvious choice here?
I have a feeling we're going to agree. You got Kyler Murray.
Yep, Kyler Murray.
He's losing his job at the organization, surely. I mean, you live in Arizona. Like, surely he's on his way out.
Yeah, he might be one of the most disliked humans in this state right now. I think just everybody had so high of expectations. He's made his money. You know, I think the craziest thing about him was he was like a top 10. He was picked, I think, top 10 in the NFL and top 10 in the MLB. Which is insane. So a lot of people are saying go play baseball and go play for the A's in Vegas now. I think Brissett looks 100 times better, though. We don't really need to talk anymore. I think everybody's probably in agreement for Kyler Murray there. One that's tough, though, I think is the Los Angeles Rams. Who do you have for them?
I've got Higbee. Again, maybe he should be having a better season just based on how good Stafford's been. I mean, with these successful teams, sometimes that's the logic. It's like, how much are you getting paid? What did you do in previous years, and what's happening currently this year, right? Like, it's kind of, that's the trifecta of, I was going to say duality, but I guess that would have been three things. So triality. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I tried my best. There you go.
We know what you mean. I have Higbee as well, too. 134 yards in 7 games. You'd expect him to be doing a whole lot better. San Francisco 49ers. I have Purdy, and I have Purdy for a little bit of a weird reason. I think the second Mac Jones came in, there is all this talk now about how Mac Jones could take over Purdy. Mac Jones could be the starter, this, that. So for me, a lot of people also used to say that Purdy was only good because of the weapons he had around him. You know, he had an incredible receiving core there. The second a backup comes in and everybody's saying, hey, he could take the job, I feel like you fall into the overrated category at that point.
No, I think that's fair. Even though it's like sort of injury driven, I don't know if he's retaking that position as the starting quarterback whenever he's ready to play. I'm not mad at that take whatsoever. I've got Juwan Jennings, and again, it's what he's done previously. Also had injuries, which is going to be reoccurring. He's not going to make some of his previous years of numbers and stat lines, and maybe there's a little aging in that as well. I still think he's a quality wide receiver. I don't want to sound like I'm discrediting anyone. But again, difficult division here, which leads us to maybe the hardest choice potentially with the Seattle Seahawks, who have just been outstanding.
They have been outstanding. This was definitely one of the harder picks for me. I went with Cooper Kupp just because of his name. I think everybody on that team is performing better than expected, or they're all doing their job. Kupp only has 300 yards this year, and I feel like he's kind of too big of a name to only have 300 yards. It's a victim once again of circumstance where everybody's doing so well.
Yeah, I mean, you're dealing with a top 10 offense, top 10 defense, and I would say early doors, this should be a team that you're looking for late runs, maybe a Super Bowl contender if they were to keep this up. Everyone has been playing like up here. But I'm with you. I also put down Kupp being like maybe amongst all the success, you could be a little more successful, which is just the reasoning, I guess, it's what it comes down to. I don't know if it's fair, but it makes sense logically to me.
We'll find out if people think our opinions are fair. If you've made it to the end of the episode, once again, leave a like if you want us to do the most underrated players on each team. I enjoyed this. This was good. I feel like, we're going to be way more in depth with everything going on forward as well. And let's see if we eat some of our words on some of these players.
Yeah, it was 32 players, 32 teams. And like I said, I could have gotten niche here. We could have started taking deep dives into some of the defensive players, or some of the O-line in particular on some of these teams. But we chose to try to stay off that to at least a certain degree. Well, let us know in the comment section, and we'll have another episode coming out very soon.
Peace.